Right, looks like another long clip for this game. We'll see just how much we managed to get done in it. Of course, it would also help if I remembered that not every block with a grapple point on it ceases to exist when we're absolutely done with it. It's actually kind of funny when you do a screw attack and it doesn't actually manage to break all of the ceiling. I'd say that should have made Samus's head sore, but then I don't know what part of her body actually smacked against the unbreakable part of the ceiling there. Though maybe if I slam my head against something, I'll start to see what the hell I was thinking when I decided to go back here. Okay! I take it back! That actually made me feel like I'm figuring this game out. Again, we're definitely not getting every upgrade in the game, but sometimes grabbing an upgrade, even a minor one, feels like a major accomplishment. Onward to the unknown section! Another missile upgrade. Nothing too special, but since we don't have any idea where the next Metroid is, we may as well grab it. Sure, you had to know to go to this corner to find it, but it still feels like a gimme, considering how annoying some of these other upgrades are to reach. Yeah, this is all the way back to the room where I thought we didn't have another door, and that I thought it didn't have much past that door when we saw it. So much ground covered, but we've still got 2 more Metroids to find. And once again, I've decided to consult the toilet for directions. We've got a small unexplored area higher up, but I'm pretty sure a good amount of that is blocked by acid. And apparently we can't go through that little hole on the left because of that frickin' block that can only be broken on the right side. Just grazing by those head-on now kills them. If anything, I'm shocked I don't use the screw attack against absolutely every recurring enemy possible after getting it. I guess I'm just trying to keep the skills that would actually mean something against bosses in Metroid sharp, even though we have plenty more tools we can use against the regular enemies in our way here. Bit of a shame it only shows us one spot when we need to kill 2 of the bastards. But hey, I'll take it. It's always nice when I have an idea of where to go, even though that kind of cancels part of the point behind a game where so much of it is about exploring. Still, this far into the game, I think I'm allowed to get tired of the overall pattern. Especially since we've been hunting Metroids for 2 games straight. I know, that part's my fault. I probably should have done the remake for Metroid 2 after I had done Super Metroid Infusion, instead of just after AM2R. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making the same mistake when I finally get around to doing the Resident Evil series, though it might be a bit more pronounced there, since there are a lot more games that were remade in that series that I can play to completion. Of course, that's for the future. Let's try to focus on getting through this fight first. Again, not much of an upgrade, but at least the way I got to it felt satisfying. That's gotta count for something, right? Yeah, definitely easier to just screw into these guys than to do the whole counter-shoot thing we've been doing for most of the game, but shooting them just feels more natural. Possibly because running into enemies was so dangerous for so much of the game that running into them now feels a bit weird to me. Or maybe that's just because walking into enemies is dangerous for you in a lot of 2D games. Again, it doesn't quite feel like we've done enough to really warrant saving at the moment. Kinda wish I knew why they decided not to give save points their own separate rooms in this game. It's just one of those minor changes to the formula that feels like it came out of nowhere. Sure, that might have initially been done, since in the earliest games of the franchise they might not have had quite enough processing space for it all, but by the time they got to the Game Boy Advanced era, those limits should have been firmly behind them. But they stuck with making save points their own separate rooms, partly out of tradition, I expect. So why did they decide to toss that bit of tradition out of the window in this game that was made to be a return to form for the entire franchise? Again, it is not a major issue, and it's not even something that I generally care about most of the time. It's just where my thoughts decided to wander on our way to where the toilet told us to go. Though, if I feel the need to go back to the toilet for more directions later on, I am just gonna fast forward. Okay, so the tracker is still pointing to the spot, even though there doesn't actually seem to be anything there. It's just where the unexplored part of the area began. Strange, I was really expecting it to be the exact point, with the exact location of the next Metroid. Ah well, progress is progress, and that marker certainly did lead us to a good amount of ground we haven't explored yet. We'll see if that means we're gonna take down both remaining Metroids in this clip so we can move on. And again, it feels oddly jarring to go right from a pleasant-looking area to a lava-filled one just by opening a single door. I know this kind of game can get away with that sort of scene change more easily than the 3D game that's trying to get a more realistic tone. Or at least more realistic than anything Nintendo makes, but still. Okay, I seem to have forgotten that I'm immune to lava. That certainly would have helped prevent me from making so many damn mistakes against this Metroid. And of course, Metroids are also immune to lava. I suppose it makes sense since their series-wide weakness has always been ice. Despite a very iffy start to the fight, I'd say we're still doing pretty well against this thing. Though it'd certainly be easier to tell how much damage we've managed to do if we could tell more easily how the bastard is shifting colors in this red environment. Right, just one pixel away from being caught in that explosion. Wonder how many other incredibly close misses we've had so far in the game. I haven't been able to keep count. Just like I haven't bothered keeping count of just how many times I get myself hurt doing something stupid that I really should have been able to avoid. Well, that was about as close as they come. And that was against a Metroid type that we're very much familiar with. Definitely don't like our chances if we run into one of the Xenomorph or T-Rex versions of a Metroid, that's for sure. Right, nothing else to grab in here. Doubted there would be, but it doesn't hurt to check. Took a bit too long for me to remember how to get out, but then the last Metroid kinda knocked me off kilter even though there was no reason he should have been able to. Definitely far too close to death for my liking, especially with how much damage we can take if I'm unlucky against even recurring enemies. Hell, how infrequently have we gotten this low on health in this game? The few times we have been this hurt, we either got killed in a hurry or healed before the low health audio cue got annoying. And of course I just had to try a screw attack on something that causes damage by exploding, even if it is a small explosion radius. The lightning armor just became a lot more valuable to us, just from sheer desperation. So, of course we get killed because one enemy shuts down the lightning armor for a bit, while the other blows up on the opposite side of us. Not sure if I should praise the little bastards for working together like that, or insult myself for letting two enemies we've been killing hundreds of kill us with that kind of ease. Somewhat annoying that we had to re-grab that upgrade, but at least it wasn't an especially difficult one to grasp here. Just need to save, then it's on to searching for the final Metroid in this area. And we've regained one full health tank. That's a bit of weight off my shoulders. Bloody hell, I'm just feeling way too fatigued with this game. Hell, I think I'll fast forward for a bit just so the amount of footage I have to deal with in this clip feels a bit less intimidating to deal with when I'm feeling this tired. And now I can't help wishing that the game had the kind of soundtrack that sounded funnier when you fast forward. Of course, it's harder to do that when the game doesn't have any voice acting. If nothing else, taking this path is certainly letting us gain a lot of our health back in a hurry. And there we go, we have all of our energy tanks back. Place your bets, just how close to death will the next Metroid leave us. It certainly feels pretty random when we're on the ball and when we aren't against these things. Anyone want to explain to me why we're able to run around lava like air, but acid is still very much dangerous to us? Again, I know a number of things don't make sense around here, but it's still a little annoying. And that's another annoying distance away, dear God. Think I'll save just because this has proven to be a bit of a time sink, followed by some more fast forwarding. Guess this clip is going to be shorter than I thought. Bit of a relief, but that doesn't change how intimidating the sheer amount of raw footage we've yet to go through for this game so far feels to me right now. Yeah, if we aren't at full health when we reach the last Metroid here, then I am going to scream. Or at least the closest approximation to a scream I can pull off without making my neighbors call the cops or something. Okay, so we can't destroy that variety of heads in the wall as easily as the others we've come across. But since I'd rather not dance around the fireballs in slow motion like last time, I'd say the rapid fire beam is going to be getting some more exercise here. And look at that, we're at the top with full health. Not entirely sure why I'm not especially willing to use the suit power that slows down time. I certainly tend to abuse the crap out of that kind of power in the Matrix and Max Payne games. Of course, in those games, we tend to start off with that ability. Whereas in this game, we didn't get that skill until pretty damn far into this mess. When we were very much getting used to doing things in this game at a normal speed, we just plain didn't have that to draw on as a crutch. And again, the indicator didn't show the exact position of the Metroid. May as well slow the footage down again. Well, we're fully healed here, but since the lightning armor still took some hits, I can't really say we're in pristine condition. And wow! I honestly thought I could go from the beginning to the end of this game using the lightning armor as little as possible. But here we are, using it more frequently, simply because it feels like the game really is starting to amp things up in terms of difficulty at this stage. Right, last Metroid in the area, then we fast forward back to the toilet. Well, at least we're in good enough shape to take on a Xenomorph here. Now let's see if I'm on the ball enough for that to get the job done. And of course, the lightning armor didn't last against the bouncing fireballs. Bloody hell! Now I'm curious how much damage that thing would do to us in a single hit if we somehow didn't have the gravity suit when we found it. At the very least, our armor isn't feeling especially protective against it, that's for sure. Again, I'd really like it if the enemy had actual health bars for us to see, instead of having to guess how hurt they are based on what color they shift into. I know we're close to killing this one, but not how close. Well, despite dropping it right on our own head, we finished the thing, which means yet another area clear. Now, to just run all the way back to the toilet, to flush the next bit of acid and see if the next area is the last one before the Queen. I doubt it, but I wouldn't mind being wrong. Anyway, time to fast forward. Well, this is definitely going to be awkward since we don't even have Aeon energy to spare for once. But we've already gone through worse, some of which in this very clip. And I've got to admit that this version of the game did a much better job conveying just how dangerous the Metroids are, even when you're properly prepared. Assuming there is such a thing as being properly prepared for these particular monsters. There's a reason the government decided to put an extermination order on these things, of course. Now, I'd wish we'd gotten a better idea of what the Federation was like in this galaxy. Mass Effect and Star Wars have spoiled me for intergalactic governments.